reasoning. It is your first class today on critical reasoning, and that is why it is called Introduction to Critical Reasoning. Uh, Before I
Morning,
move
sir.
on, good morning, good morning. Uh, Before I move on, can you tell me what do you mean by critical reasoning? Uh, Today we're going to discuss the concepts of CR or critical reasoning. We will also do a handout today, and in the handout we'll do some basic concepts of CR. So the questions will be based on the basic concepts of CR. Uh, so first thing that arises in the mind is that what is CR? What is critical reasoning? Uh, if I talk about reasoning, then I hope you understand the word reasoning. It would have something to do with logic. It would have something to do with a set of rules, or something that is acceptable, is logical, or applies to certain reasoning or logic, is something that is that would imply by reasoning. What do you understand by the word critical? The word critical, what should it mean to you? I'll give you a sentence. Tell me, what could it mean? Uh, it says the patient is in a critical condition. What is the meaning of the word critical here?
That even something minute something goes wrong, that the patient would die.
I didn't follow what you said, Varun. Uh, all right, Parul and Krishna are talking about being severe, or Krishna, or last stage. How would you explain the word critical here? Very serious, says Sakshi. Probably this is what it means. Why should we jump to a conclusion, Krishna, by calling it last stage? Can we not simply use the word serious? How are you sure it is the last stage? Maybe once the doctors begin the treatment, he may be all right. So the
No,
sense
actually,
that
excuse me.
yes, Varun,
Yeah, because when the patient is critical, there is no room for them any further improvement.
is that so? So all
Yeah,
critical patients,
yeah, there is
all
no yeah, there is no room for the further improvement. So when the patient is critical, it is sad to be critical because the doctor is not able to do anything about it.
so then why don't they say that he's going to die? Why should they use the word critical?
Because they
That means they should stop
because
working
because
on
there are
the guy.
chances because there are chances, there are 1% chances of there are 0.0% chances, but they are not like in general cases there are chances that they could save the patient like 90% or they be it 80%. But when the patient is critical, the situation is sad to be that they're not able to do anything, but they are trying, they are trying what they
But
are
they're,
able to do.
they're hopeful.
Yeah, they are hopeful, but the hope is very negligible. The patient might die.
I am happy, Varun, you have not become a doctor, because if you have a critical patient in front of you, you will be 99.9% sure he will die. So you will not make the effort also to save him.
No, 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 sir. It is not about the profession. It is about the criticality.
Okay. Well, the if the patient is in a critical condition, it does not mean that he is going to die certainly.
No, I didn't say that he is going to die. I said the doctor is trying, but but the given circumstances are hard to cope up with. That's what I said.
So you, in a way, trying to say that he's in a dying state.
No, I didn't definitely said that he is in a
Let us
dying
agree
state.
on this, Varun. Let's leave it here only.
Okay.
Critical does not mean that he is in a dying state. It means that he is in a serious condition. Therefore, what Sakshi has said, that very serious, I may agree with that, but it literally means that probably he requires the ICU. If somebody is in a critical condition, then the ICU would be required for the patient. It does not mean that he is on the deathbed. Somebody may be critically ill, and all the patient needs is hospitalization, and therefore, once he gets the medical care, he may recover completely. So it's just not this. So, can we use the word critical to mean serious? Can we really mean serious here? Or as Vrinda says, delicate condition. So, shall we take this word here to mean serious? It won't be appropriate to call this reasoning serious and other reasoning to be non-serious. Therefore, we may not be able to substitute the word serious here for critical reasoning. If you look at another sentence, and it is using the same word critical, which says the opposition is critical of the ruling government. So here we are talking about the opposition being critical of the ruling government. What is the meaning of the word critical here? It is, yes, anybody wants to suggest? It certainly means that the opposition is of disapproval. It does not approve of the rulings of the government, and therefore it is criticizing the working of the government. So here we use the word critical to mean criticize. Will this be the appropriate word for critical here or critical reasoning here? No, probably not. So this also may not be the correct usage. If I give you another sentence, I'm dealing with different shades of the word critical, the different meanings of critical. This is a sentence which says, for a country to be prosperous, it is critical that the growth of GDP is enjoyed by maximum number of people. So it is critical that the growth of GDP is enjoyed by maximum number of people. Now, what does the word critical mean here? Necessary, all right, says Sakib, or important is what it means, as Ruchi says. Yes, it could be necessary or important. Again, if I substitute necessary or important in calling critical reasoning, then again, I am not doing justice to the other branches of reasoning. I cannot say that this is important reasoning or necessary reasoning, and all other reasoning or branches of reasoning may not be important or necessary. So, probably this also may not be applicable here. If I give you another, statement here where I talk about the patient requires critical care. Now, what does the word critical here? Does it mean serious? Does it mean criticize? Does it mean important? So, what kind of a care are we talking about over here? It requires critical care unit. In some hospitals, we have something called critical care unit. It's quite similar to intensive care unit, but they call it critical care unit, where critical care is given. So, what do we understand by critical care? Should it be crucial, Sakshi? How will you explain the meaning of the word critical care here? Special treatment. All right. How would you explain the special treatment here? Much needed. I think all treatments are much needed. We don't go for treatment which is not required. Uh, Critical care probably requires more attention of the doctor. Critical care requires a doctor to be more careful about the changing parameters of the patient, because even a smallest change in the parameters of the condition of the patient may cause an alarm in the mind of the doctor. So critical care is probably that kind of care. All right. It requires, yes, and it has to be the patient has to be very closely monitored. All parameters have to be taken into account of this patient, and we cannot ignore any, parameter of the patient. This is probably the meaning of the word here in critical reasoning also, where you need to take care of every part of the sentence, every part of the passage, every part of the argument given to us, and each word is very important. So we have to be very careful when we are doing critical reasoning. If I talk about critical reasoning and RC, they're quite similar. We have a passage, we have a question after that, and we have the options after that. So if you look at the the model of CR and RC, they're quite similar. But there is one basic difference. And the basic difference is that a critical reasoning passage is much smaller than a RC passage. RC passage, you will agree that there are a lot of extra material. There is a lot of extra material in RC passage. We don't need the entire passage to take into account when we are answering the questions. So, answering the questions does not require all information to be taken into account. There may be many paragraphs also that could be omitted to answer the questions. All right? Because the idea in RC is that we are hiding the answers in the piece of writing. And when we are hiding, then we need larger space to hide. But in CR, it's a very tightly packed passage. And sometimes the passage can be just a sentence long. So if we have a tightly packed passage or just a sentence, we have to look at every word very closely. We have to take care of the meaning of every single word that is mentioned in the passage, so that we do not ignore the meaning of any word and probably miss out on the correct answer. I hope you understand. So we need to pay more attention. We need to take note of every small, big word in the passage and try to find the answers. I hope this is clear. All right. Let's now move on and try to understand a few concepts of CR. I give you a sentence here which says John is studying hard for the exams. All right. I give you another sentence here which says John will do well in the exams. Are these two sentences related? Do you see a relation between these two sentences? Yes or no? Do they seem to be related?
So the other sentence can be concluded by the other one.
What did you say, Varun?
So the other one sentence can be concluded by the other sentence.
Can be
Concluded by the other sentence.
concluded by the other sentence. So there is a relation. I simply asked whether there is a relation between the two or no.
Yeah, there is a relation between the two.
There is a relation between the two sentences because both of them seem to be talking about John. Both of them seem to be talking about exams as well. Therefore, they seem to have a relation between them. Now, when I consider these two sentences, do you think one sentence is talking about an opinion or a forecast or some kind of a judgment on the basis of the other statement? Is one sentence talking about a judgment or opinion or some kind of viewpoint on the basis of the information given in the other statement?
The first one.
Yes. The first one is giving the judgment. Is the
Yeah.
first one the judgment statement? Is the first one the judgment statement or the second one?
No, the second one. Sorry, the second one.
The second one seems to be a judgment statement
Yeah.
based on the information given in the first statement. All right, very good. Now, let's believe that this is a judgment of somebody else, not mine. All right, so this is a judgment of somebody else and it is not my judgment. And I personally believe that one needs good luck to do well in an exam. So my personal belief is that one needs good luck in doing well of an exam. Will I also be able to draw the same judgment from this statement or not? Now, I want you to think logically, whatever we are discussing today, and in the subsequent classes of CR, you are going to think logically. You're not going to think the way we think in normal circumstances in our everyday life. So think logically and tell me, if I believe that good luck is very important for doing well in an exam, will I also be able to draw the same judgment based on the information given here? Yes or no? My question is simply in a yes or a no. The answer is no, because there is no mention of any good luck here in the opening, in the first statement. Therefore, I will not be able to draw a similar kind of a judgment or a forecast based on the information given in the first statement. So, shall we believe that this statement is not enough to be able to draw this kind of a judgment? Should I believe that the first statement is not sufficient for making the second statement or making a judgment which is there in the second statement? Is it sufficient? Is the first statement sufficient? Because this person believes that he will do well, but as you said, I may not believe that he will do well. Therefore, is the first statement sufficient to give me a judgment of the second statement? Varun and Divyansh, if it is a yes, then everybody should be able to draw the same judgment if it is sufficient. Why should I not be able to draw the same judgment then if this is sufficient? It is certainly not sufficient. That is why I cannot draw the judgment here. I hope you
Hello.
understand, Divyansh and Varun.
Hello.
Yes, Shashi Ranjan, tell me, what is it that you want to speak?
सर जैसे आपने क्वेश्चन दिया है कि जॉन इज स्टडिंग हार्ड फॉर द एग्जाम, तो मतलब जॉन जो है एग्जाम के लिए मतलब हार्ड क्या कर रहा है, जॉन स्टडिंग हार्ड कर रहा है, मतलब कठिन परिश्रम कर रहा है एग्जाम के लिए। तो ऐसे बोलने में आता है कि तो वो अगर वो कठिन परिश्रम कर रहा है तो वो जरूर वो अच्छा करेगा। इसी प्रकार से वो आप सेंटेंस को बनाने के लिए कह रहे हैं।
नहीं, आप मेरी बात नहीं समझ रहे हो शशि। मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ कि अगर मैं बिलीव करता हूँ कि गुड लक बहुत जरूरी है एग्जाम में अच्छा करने के लिए, तो क्या मैं भी ये बात बोल सकूंगा जॉन इज स्टडिंग हार्ड फ्रॉम द एग्जाम्स को लेके, क्या मैं भी ये बात बोल सकूंगा कि जॉन विल डू वेल इन द एग्जाम्स?
बोल सकते तो हैं, ऐसा हम थोड़ी
अगर
बोल
मेरा
सकते।
मेरा विश्वास,
ऐसा हम
अगर
2 मिनट
अगर
सुनिए,
मेरा
रुक जाओ। हाँ, तो बोलिए।
अगर मेरा विश्वास ये है कि गुड लक की बहुत जरूरत होती है एग्जाम में अच्छे करने के लिए, तो क्या मैं भी बोल सकूंगा कि हाँ वो अच्छा करेगा?
नहीं, ऐसा तो नहीं बोल सकते।
तो फिर यही तो पूछ रहा हूँ कि क्या ये पहला स्टेटमेंट जो है वो सफिशिएंट है, वो काफी है हर आदमी को ये बोलने के लिए कि जॉन विल डू वेल इन द एग्जाम?
नहीं।
दिस इज व्हाट आई आस्क्ड.
ओके,
All right.
समझ गया।
So this is definitely not sufficient.
हाँ,
All right,
ओके
because men or everybody cannot draw the same kind of judgment. Now,
थैंक यू।
please understand a few things. The first statement, which you all agreed is the basis of my judgment. This first statement is called a premise. Please remember this word, premise. Premise in English means basis. Premise in English means basis. All right, so it's a foundation or basis. So isn't my first statement the basis of the second statement? Therefore, it is called a basis. All right. And second statement, because it is coming out of the first statement or it is taking the help of the second statement, first statement, is called a conclusion. I hope you understand these two words, premise and conclusion. Everybody clear? The first statement, since it is the basis of my conclusion, is called the premise. And since the second statement is what is coming out of these two statements, is called the conclusion. Conclusion is something that I wanted to convey. All right. Did I want to convey the first statement or the second statement? I wanted to convey the second statement, therefore it is the conclusion. And because I wanted to convey the second statement, I also presented the reason why I am saying the second statement. And therefore, my second statement is my conclusion. Has everybody followed till here? Any difficulty till here? All right, now let's understand. We said that if the first statement is not sufficient, not enough for the second statement, this means that there is something missing. So let's understand that how could this person make this conclusion that John will do well in the exam? What was in his mind? What went on in his mind which made him say that John will do well in the exam simply from the statement John is studying hard? No, Parul, that is not a good explanation. What do you think is the belief of this person who said John will do well in the exams? What is his belief? I got the answer a few messages ago. This is what the conclusion means, Parul. But what is his belief? उसका मानना क्या है? Very good, Ruchi. Ruchi has given the correct answer. The belief in this person is that anybody who studies hard will do well in the exams. And therefore, because John is also studying hard, he believes that John will also do well in the exams. Have you followed Richie's argument? Therefore, the belief that he has is anyone who studies hard for exam does well in the exams. Isn't this the one in the red, not the belief of this person who is saying John will do well in the exam? So we need to understand that I need this premise I also need this statement. So both of them together will give me this. In the absence of any one of these, conclusion is not possible. Are we clear till here? There are 48 people in the group. I am not receiving sufficient responses. I expect the responses to come on the chat box because if many people start unmuting themselves, then there's going to be a chaos. So please reply on the chat box whether you're following or not following. Please understand, I require both the statements, first and the second statement, to confirm my conclusion. And in this case, then what is my second statement? The second statement is only in the mind of the person who's making the conclusion. Therefore, it is called an assumption. Please understand, the second statement is in the mind of the person who's making this conclusion. He believes that anyone who studies hard does well, and because John is studying hard, therefore he says John will do well. Krishna, are you trying to make a conclusion on your, are you going to tell me what you think, or are you trying to tell me what the author of this statement thinks? Is the author saying it will increase his chance? Or is the author saying do well? So is it okay if the author wants to believe that he will do well? So I have to think according to the author, not according to what I think. Because the conclusion is made by the author, not by me. I hope you understand, Krishna. Please put all your questions on the group for everybody to see so that they know what I am discussing with you. I hope this is clear, Krishna. So we understand that both are required. A premise and an assumption is required to draw a conclusion. In other words, please understand, a premise plus an assumption will give us a conclusion. All right, so we need both of these to draw the conclusion. Assumption is something in the mind. Assumption is always in the mind. It is never a part of the passage. Our passage is only the first and the third statement. It will not be the second statement. So please remember, we are only talking about the first and the third statement as the passage, and the second statement is a part of the mind. It is something in the mind which is not supposed to be mentioned in the conclusion, in the passage, and therefore assumption is always not present. It is never present in the passage. And we get assumption-based questions, and when we get assumption-based questions, we have to find what is the premise and what is the conclusion, and based on the conclusion, we have to find the assumption. Please remember, an assumption will help you draw the conclusion. All right? Assumption is something that is always there, but we many times do not realize, or we do not, we are not aware of it, but it is always there in the mind. All of you enrolled for your CAT coaching with us. What was the assumption that you made? When you decided to enroll with us for your CAT coaching, what was your assumption? Can anybody tell me what did you assume before you joined for CAT? Please give your answers to everybody in the group. I don't want answers only to me. but to everybody. Time is waste when it comes to CAT preparation. Any other assumption? Professional guidance will lead to better results. And Sakshi, you believe that time gives best professional guidance. We'll be able to utilize ourselves with its resources. With whose resources? Time's resources. Okay. That time will help us to crack the CAT, says Gaurang. Any other assumption? The rest don't have any assumption. They came and just paid the money. They did not have any assumption in the mind. Somebody else was paying money to time, therefore you also paid money to time. Is that so?
सर हमने
I'm
टाइम
sure
इसलिए ज्वाइन किया सर कि
nobody-
हमें गुड लर्निंग और ट्रिक्स पता लगेंगे कि हमें कैट कैसे क्लियर करना है और
Put it
टाइम
on the group. Vishal, why don't you put it on the group? Try to put it on the group so that everybody knows. On the basis of past results, time must have best faculty and admin and study material. Therefore, you join. All right. I ask you one question. All of you know Akash Institute? Yes? Okay. Akash has good faculty members. Akash has good study material. Akash has good past record. Why did you not go and pay Akash? Why did you pay time? Why did you not pay Akash? Akash also has good faculty members, good past record, good study material, good way of teaching. Why did you not pay Akash? No reply. If Akash also has the same facilities that we have, then why did you pay Akash? Because Akash is good for medical career. Career is not the word that you should use, Vishal. It should be career, CAR, Akash is good for medical entrance. It is not for CAT. Akash is famous for joint entrance because of their goodwill in science streams. Akash is good for all time. He is good for CAT. All right. So, why did you not pay? Because they did not, you thought they will not help you. The simple reason is that you thought that time will help you, but Akash will not help you. So you did not pay us because we have good faculties. You did not pay us because we have good study material. You did not pay us because we have good past record. You paid us because you thought that we will help you in cracking the CAT. Please understand. Whatever you talked about time, that time is, got good material, good faculty members, good style of teaching, good past record. That is my premise. Please understand, all that is premise. After that, you had to assume that time will help me do well in CAT. This assumption is very important. Once you have everything of the premise, then you also have to assume that time will help me do well in CAT. Only then you will go and pay money to time. Do you understand a logical construction of the events that happened? I hope you understand this. All right. So please understand, and let's say time has good material, time has good past experience, time has good faculty members, but you felt that time will not help me. If you feel that time will not help you, will you pay the money? No. All right. So the moment my assumption goes wrong, my conclusion will also go wrong. I hope you understand. The moment you negate your assumption that time will not help me, then your conclusion also goes wrong or goes negated, because then you will not pay money to time. Please understand this simple logic that I have given to you. This is how we have to understand our assumptions. Assumption is always in the mind, and based on the assumptions, we draw the conclusions. And assumptions are always there. Let's say you are crossing the road. All right? You're crossing the road. What is the assumption when you take the first step towards crossing the road? What is the assumption? You're crossing a road. What is the assumption that you make before you begin to cross the road? Anyone else? Good. All those who are replying, good. The assumption that you make is that if I cross the road now, I will reach safely on the other side. Whatever is the traffic condition, how far the nearest vehicle is, how long it will take to reach here and all that, that is my premise. After knowing the condition of the traffic, which is my premise, I have to assume, okay, if I cross now, I will reach the other side safely. All right, so that is the time when you begin to cross the road. So this assumption helps you draw the conclusion. Suddenly, one moment ago, you felt that I can cross the road safely. Next moment, you felt I cannot cross the road safely. What will happen to my conclusion? The moment you realize that I cannot cross the road safely, you will pull back yourself and come back again. So an assumption can actually change the conclusion also. If you negate the assumption, the conclusion will also be negated. I hope the point is clear, everybody. All right. So enough of examples of assumptions. Let's move on to the other basics of critical reasoning. All right. So let's do that. Let me make it this one here. All right. So we'll talk about conclusion. I've already told you, but have you heard of another word, inference? You heard of conclusion. Have you heard of inference also? I'm sure you have. So are they both same? Is a conclusion and inference same? Can we say both are same, conclusion and inference? Yes? Do they mean the same to you? What can you conclude and what can you infer? Is it the same thing? They are different. Ayush, what is the difference between conclusion and inference then? Gaurang? How is conclusion different from Gaurang, from inference? Yes? You can unmute. When I ask you particularly about the question, then you can unmute and speak. But if I'm talking in general, then please don't unmute. How is conclusion and inference different from each other?
So may I?
Yes, go on.
So it is basically, inference is basically the process of driving a conclusion from
And what is
an argument.
What is the conclusion?
The main idea that the
also process of drawing a conclusion.
Sorry.
Isn't that also a process of drawing a conclusion?
Okay.
It's not the process that we talk about, Varun. Well, both of them for a layman, they may be same, but for students of CR, they are different. The conclusion is slightly different from inference. Ayushi has put it very nicely here. Please read what Ayushi Pandey has written. Conclusion might be given in the passage, but inference is not. Absolutely correct. Conclusion is a part of the passage. I will not say, Ayushi, that inference is not given at all. Ayushi, inference can be hinted or suggested, but conclusion is confirmed. Now let's understand this. Conclusion is generally given by the author. It's made by the author for us. Like we said, John will do well in the exams is a conclusion here because it is stated by the author. Inference is not directly stated by the author. It is simply suggested or hinted. There is just a suggestion or a hint of it. It is not a certain thing. All right. For example, if I say in this statement that John is a hardworking student, I am inferring that John is a hardworking student. Is it true? Can it be a good inference that John is a hardworking student? Yes, it can be an inference. But the problem is that could it be possible that John has been forced by his parents to study? He's failed 2 times and now he's being forced to study hard and therefore he's studying hard. So saying that John is a hardworking student may not be true. I hope you understand. Therefore, John will do well in the exams as a conclusion and John is a hardworking student. It may be an inference. I hope you understand the difference between inference and conclusion. Simply put, conclusion is something that is stated and clearly mentioned in the passage. Inference is something that is not stated but suggested or hinted, and we draw the inference based on the information given to us in the passage. I hope this is also clear. All right, then we have something known as strengthening of an argument. The word I use is argument. All right. Let me explain what argument is. Argument means anything that is stated in the passage. It could be only the conclusion, only the premise. It could be only the conclusion. It could be both premise and the conclusion. This is what we mean by argument. Anything that is submitted in the argument, in the passage, is called the argument. It could also be only one part of it. And when we have a strengthening of an argument, then we can also use the word conclusion here. So we must understand that strengthening of an argument means strengthening of the conclusion only. All right. So there may be a question which says, which of the following strengthen the argument or strengthen the conclusion? Now, suppose I say, John studies for 12 hours a day. All right. So if I say he studies for 12 hours a day, is it giving me strengthening to the statement he will do well? Will it be a good option to select for strengthening of the argument? Strengthening of the argument requires some additional factor to reconfirm the conclusion. What was my original factor for reconfirming, for confirming that he will do well? John is studying hard. All right. Isn't 12 hours a day also studying hard? Divyansh, I hope you understand. Studying hard is almost same as 12 hours a day, because here I am quantifying, here I am not quantifying, but I still have the basis is that he's studying hard, and here also it means he's studying hard. I hope you understand. Therefore, since both of them are talking in terms of studying hard, this may not be a very good option. Suppose there is also another option which says that he has been doing consistently well for the last 5 years. So if I say that John has been consistently doing well for the last 5 years, will it be a better option to choose when I have to strengthen the argument? I hope you understand. So this is an additional factor that I'm suggesting. Therefore, this will be a better, option to choose, that he is consistently doing well for the last 5 years. I hope you understand. So that would be strengthening of the argument. Strengthening of the argument means to reinforce what the conclusion is, to give more weight to the conclusion. When we have strengthening of the argument, we will also have weakening of the argument. Now, what should weakening of the argument do? Weakening of the argument will negate the conclusion. It will be an option which would say that John may not do well in the exam. So anything that will put doubt in the mind of the conclusion or will negate my conclusion, that would be considered as weakening of the argument. I hope this is clear. Suppose I say that John studied well last year, but he had a nervous breakdown in the examination hall. So I talk about last year and I say that he studied hard, but he had a nervous breakdown in the examination hall and he did not do well. So will this weaken my argument that John will do well in the exam? Will it weaken my argument? Yes. And therefore, this would be considered as something that would weaken my argument. So I hope both strengthening and weakening of the argument is understood. All right. Then we have another concept here, which is called the flaw in the argument. Flaw in the argument, flaw means defect. So we are looking at some kind of weakness in the argument or defect in the argument. Now, how do we solve a question on flaw in the argument? When you're looking at flaw in the argument, then you have to check the line of reasoning. Line of reasoning means you'll have to check the premise and the assumption. All right, not the conclusion. So flaw in the argument, you need to find a mistake in the assumption part or the premise part. Suppose I say cat has 4 legs and dog has 4 legs, therefore all cats are dogs. Will it be a fair conclusion? Is my reasoning good enough to confirm that all cats are dogs? So what is the flaw in the argument? You have to explain what is the flaw in my argument. Cat has 4 legs, dog has 4 legs, therefore all cats are dogs. How will you tell the flaw in my argument? I'm giving you a very logical explanation for confirming that all cats are dogs. How will you find the flaw in my argument? Or what is the flaw in my argument? No, Vishal, you are challenging the conclusion. I said do not challenge the conclusion, challenge the premise or the assumption. You are simply challenging that all cats are not dogs. Why? What is wrong with it, Karan? You have to tell me why it is wrong. You're not telling me why. You're simply saying that it is wrong to assume. So what is the wrong assumption that I have considered, which you are calling wrong, Muskan? Abiral, you are close. You are close to the answer. Varun, explain this. What you have written. What do you elaborate on that? Why is my assumption, why is my conclusion wrong? Good, Muskan. Muskan is the closest now. I am taking only one common parameter to be the deciding factor. There may be many other dissimilarities between cat and dog, which I am not taking into account. I hope you understand. Muskan has given the best answer. We can't assume only on one factor. We have to take all factors into account before we decide whether all cats are dogs or not. Yes, Saqib also, absolutely. This is what the intention was. All right, so I hope flaw in the argument also understood. Then we have something known as parallel reasoning. They use the word parallel or even similar. Similar reasoning. Now, in a similar reasoning question, what happens is that you are given a situation, all right, and you're given some kind of logic used in one situation, and you use the same logic in some other situation, then it is called similar reasoning. When you are using the same logic in one situation, one event, and the same logic in some other event, then it is called similar reasoning. All right. For example, you come to me and say, sir, I know that cheating in exams is wrong, but everybody does it. So what if I also do it? So you are talking about cheating being wrong, but you want to do it because others are also doing it. So you understand this line of argument that you're presenting. Now, you grow up, you complete your MBA, you get a good job, you're making a lot of money now. You again come to me and say, sir, I know cheating on taxes is wrong, but everybody does it. So what if I also do it? So am I not using the same logic which I used in writing of the exams in paying of the taxes? This is called parallel or similar reasoning. Shashi Ranjan, I did not understand what you have written. Inference means something use facts determine other facts justified unjustified. I did not follow. Shashi, क्या कहना चाहते हो आप? I hope parallel reasoning, similar reasoning understood. All right. Then we have something known as a paradox. We have one more. There can be many more, but this is another, concept of CR, and that's called a paradox. Now, what's a paradox? Paradox means when something sounds illogical but true. It sounds illogical, it seems to defy reason, but it is true. That is called a paradox. All right. Now let's try to understand a paradox also. Due to increase in sales, the company went into losses. Due to increase in sales, the company went into losses. Is it possible that the company had higher sales and went into losses. How will you explain? The question on paradox comes as, how will you explain the paradox? Or how will you resolve the paradox? What do you have to say for this? How do you think this could happen, that due to increased sales, the company went into losses?
Hello.
Anybody? Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
sir.
Go ahead.
We can say that yeah, the price of the product must be lowered, sir, due to which the sales will be increased and the profit margin will be decreased.
Absolutely, Rohit, absolutely correct. The company,
Yeah.
to increase its sales, the company started reducing its price. And when they reduced the price to such an extent that they started going into losses. So I hope you understand, although it sounds paradoxical, due to increase in sales, the company went into losses, but it can happen if the company is selling at a loss. All right. So these are some concepts of CR which we are going to practice here in the handout that we're going to do now. Varun, oxymoron is something completely different. Oxymoron is not a part of CR. Oxymoron is when two opposite words give one meaning. For example, if you use the word exact estimate, so you go to a shopkeeper and you are asking him to make something for you and you want exact estimate of it. Now, exact and estimate are two opposite words. So you can't, these two opposite words are coming together to give you one meaning. Deafening silence. Deafening silence is also an oxymoron. All right. So two opposite words. Deafening is when there's a lot of noise, and here it is silence. So it is an oxymoron. I hope you understand. All right. What is your no? But then it has to be one. It has to come together. We are just dealing with words. We are not dealing with sentences in oxymoron, Barun. It has to be two words coming together which are opposite and giving you a meaning. All right. Bittersweet. A bittersweet relationship. It's different. It's different concept altogether, Vishal. Paradox is a different concept. It has got nothing to do with a conclusion or inference. Any other question? Shashi Ranjan, you put up something which I did not follow. क्या कहना चाहते थे आप? Do you want to unmute and speak, Shashi Ranjan? No, Shashi Ranjan doesn't want to talk now. Okay. So I hope it is understood. I hope no problems. So let's move on to the handout. We'll begin with the handout. These are the concepts that we learned. All right. Do this for me. Which do you think is correct here? Do this question. What should be the answer to this question?
So the fourth one.
Which one, Rohit? Fourth. All right. Others?
Yeah, exactly.
Varun, reconsider. Should it not be fourth? We are talking about India playing South Africa in the final on the ongoing cricket tournament. It will be an emotionally charged occasion for us. Who? The Indian fans. Tendulkar is sure to play, and while we would love to see him, score another century, we are praying that he would not. We would love to see him score another century. We are praying he would not. We want our team to win. So they would love to see him score another century, but they pray that he would not because they want the team to win. So the question is, which of the following best explain the contrary emotions of the Indian fans? The contrary emotions. We want him to score a century, but we pray that he does not. So what confirms the contrary emotions? Is it two? Does two explain a win is all that Indian fan cares for, Parul? If it is a win that you care for, then let Sachin score a century. Why are you praying that he should not? I hope you understand. 5 says whenever Tendulkar scores well, the others do not. Is he talking about, is that what is explained, the others do not? Do we want everybody to score, score well, or we want to win? Do we want the whole team to score well, or we want to win? Where is 5 talking about winning? Saqib and Varun. Saqib and Varun, 5 is not talking about winning. Therefore, 5 is also incorrect because ultimately what they want is that they want the team to win. And therefore, 4 is the right answer. They fear that if he scores a century, we may not win. I hope it is clear to you also, Saqib. All right. So this was a trial question, and now we'll move on to the first question of this. Everybody, please take out the handout. The handout number is given on your screen, CRHO 1002201. Who took your DR classes, connectives and syllogisms? Neil, sir. All right. And your RC classes are taken by whom? Who takes your RC classes? RC also Neil, sir. All right. Very good. Okay. So everybody take out your handouts, please. Somebody please put the link of the handout onto the chat box. Can somebody paste the link of the handout on the chat box so everybody who have not got it can also use the link to get the handout. Here, Vishal has sent you the link on the handout. There are 7 questions on the handout. I want all of you to do the 7 questions, and we will discuss all 7 questions together. I'm giving you 15 minutes to do these 7 questions. Do these 7 questions, and then we'll discuss them together. All right? Doesn't it confirm, Komal, that we are talking about opposite commission? Doesn't it talk about the contrary emotions? Contrary emotions are that they love to see him score a century, but we are praying that we would not. This is the contrary emotions, Komal. All right. So if these are the contrary emotions, what explains the best about this, or what? Why are they having contrary emotions? Komal, do you understand or no? Isn't 4 talking about contrary emotions? Your player scores a century and you lose. Isn't that the fear? All right, please do the handout. All of you, 15 minutes given to you. It's 28, so you have 43, 11:43. We'll just start the discussion. Please do not send any answers to me right now. I'll take the answers once we begin to discuss. Yes, please. Komal, first of all, I'd like to attend your doubts. Tell me, what is your doubt? Please use the mic to tell me. What is the confusion?
Sir, I don't know why the word contrary was used there.
Contrary means that the fans are confused. Fans are presenting opposite emotions. They want Tendulkar should score a century, yet they want to pray that he does not score a century. So this is what we are talking about, is opposite emotions. So why the question is that why are they having opposite or contrary emotions? They want him to score a century, but they pray that he does not. So why are they having contrary emotions? This is the question. They are having contrary emotions because they fear that if Tendulkar scores a century, then India will lose.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it. Thank you, sir.
बिल्कुल clear है? All right.
Yes, sir.
So now we come to the questions. Here is the first question. Tell me, what should be the answer to the first question? You are going to answer only to me, not to everybody. Parul, please make sure that you are answering only to me, not to others. More answers, please. All right. Most of the answers are between B and C. Let's try to understand which should be the answer. We are talking about theory of MAD. And he says the theory of MAD, and then he has the hyphen, which means that he is now explaining the theory of MAD. So theory of MAD, mutually assured destruction, ensures. What does it confirm? That two nuclear powered enemies would not go to war. This is the theory of MAD. Then he says the fact that a nuclear war, if it occurs, would destroy both countries. This fact stated here, prevents leaders from declaring war and maintaining a hostile peace. Because if a nuclear war occurs, it would destroy both the countries. This is the reason that leaders do not declare war and they continue to maintain a hostile peace. I hope you understand. Therefore, we must understand that this is the reason for this. The first is the reason for the second thing to happen. Therefore, first becomes my premise and second becomes my conclusion. I hope you understand. The fact that a nuclear war, if it occurs, would destroy both countries. This is the premise. This is the basis. And the conclusion is this prevents leaders from declaring war. So leaders do not declare war and maintain a hostile peace as in the Cold War. I hope you understand. The question is, which of the following is an assumption inherent in the above argument? So what is the conclusion dealing with? What is the conclusion talking about? Conclusion is talking about leaders. Therefore, an option which talks about leaders, that should be chosen as the assumption. Because the conclusion is about leaders and the assumption therefore is also going to be about leaders. Therefore, B becomes the right choice. C option, the presence of nuclear arsenal is actually a factor working for prevention of war, is something that is stated in the premise. And it is the theory of MAD. So this is already mentioned in the passage. And anything mentioned in the passage is not supposed to be an assumption. So I hope you all understand D is the answer, C is not the answer. Anyone has any doubt? All right, number 2. Yes, only 7, 8 answers have come so far. There are 45 students. All right, now let's understand this. It says for 50 successive weeks, the rate of inflation has been under 5%. Vishal, you should try to find out what is the author trying to say through the passage. Whatever he's trying to say through the passage, that is the conclusion. And what is the basis of what he's trying to say, that is my premise. So see what he's trying to tell us in the passage, in any passage. All right, I have got answers for all 4 options A, B, C, D. मैं इस क्वेश्चन को करने से पहले एक अपनी कहानी सुनाता हूं आपको. I am also running a newspaper. मैं एक न्यूज़पेपर चलाता हूं. And I publish 1 copy of the newspaper every day. Till 31st December 2020, I was publishing 1 copy of the newspaper every day. All right. 1st January this year, my wife told me that I will also read your newspaper. So I started publishing 2 copies of the newspaper every day. All right. So how much have I grown by? How much has my circulation grown by? 100%. So I have had a growth of 100% in 1 year. So what does it mean? Am I the largest reading newspaper in Delhi now? Times of India, Hindustan Times, सब पीछे रह गए. My newspaper is the largest selling newspaper because I have got 100% growth in the circulation. What is the reason? क्यों मैं ये नहीं मान सकता that the whole city is reading my newspaper, although I have grown by 1%. I've grown by 100%. What is the reason? The reason is very simple. It is because I am working on a very small base. मेरे को एक न्यूज़पेपर के साथ एक और न्यूज़पेपर ऐड करना था और मेरी 100% ग्रोथ हो गई. लेकिन टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया को अगर 10% ग्रोथ भी करना है तो उसको हजारों और कस्टमर्स ढूंढने पड़ेंगे, तब उसका 10% ग्रोथ होगा. So what is the reason? Why is this absurd that हम बात कर रहे हैं साउथ इंडिया की और साउथ इंडिया के अंदर अगर पिज्जा की सेल 165% बढ़ गई है तो इसका मतलब सारा साउथ इंडिया आजकल पिज्जा खा रहा है, सबने डोसा खाना बंद कर दिया है. Is that true? No. Therefore, B is the right answer. Any confusion in 4th question? शशि, मैं जाऊंगा वापस 3 पे, रुक जाओ. I hope it is clear, everybody. All right, I'm doing 3rd once again. Somebody wants a problem. शशि, आपका क्या आंसर है? शशि, what is your answer?
सर आंसर डी आ गया, लेकिन वो थोड़ा हमको समझ में अच्छी तरह नहीं आया. डी आंसर लाना, हालांकि उसको अच्छा से समझ नहीं पाया.
इक्विटेबल का मतलब क्या होता है?
सर नहीं जानते सर.
Anybody else? Meaning of equitable? Meaning of no, Prakar, equally is wrong. Equitable का मतलब equal नहीं होता है. Very good, Aviral. It means fair. So it should be a fair distribution. पैसेज ये बोल रहा है कि जब जीडीपी बढ़ता है तो वो डेफिनेटली प्रॉस्परस नेशन, एक खुशहाल नेशन नहीं बनाता है. Because increasing inequalities in income can lead to social tensions erupting in crime. क्योंकि अगर इनइक्वालिटी बढ़ गया, अगर अमीर अमीर हो गया और गरीब गरीब हो गया तो और ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स बढ़ सकती हैं. तो सिर्फ जीडीपी बढ़ने से काम नहीं चलता है. किससे काम चलता है? जब तक बहुत सारे वास्ट मेजॉरिटी ऑफ पीपल को बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा ऑफ ग्रोथ एंड प्रॉस्पेरिटी, तब तक उसको हम प्रॉस्परस नहीं बोल सकते. आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड. कहने का मतलब यह है कि अगर जीडीपी बढ़ रहा है और उसके अंदर सिर्फ अंबानी और अडानी को फायदा हो रहा है और बाकी जनता को नहीं फायदा हो रहा है, तो हम अपने देश को खुशहाल नहीं बोल सकते. हम अपने देश को खुशहाल तभी बोलेंगे जब जीडीपी के ग्रोथ के साथ साथ ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों की ग्रोथ होती है. जब तक ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों की ग्रोथ नहीं होगी, हम अपने आप को खुशहाल नहीं बोल सकते, ये बोलने की कोशिश कर रहा है। और डी भी बिल्कुल वही बोल रहा है। GDP growth and fair distribution of benefits are required for a country to be truly prosperous. I hope it is clear, everybody. All right, number 5. Number 5 में बहुत ज्यादा टाइम लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है, मैंने ये क्वेश्चन ऑलरेडी कर लिया आपके साथ. So what should be the right answer? Parul, you are making a big mistake here. The correct answer is D. I have done this with you. Cheating on taxes, and then because everybody else does it, why should I also not do? The similar structure or parallel reasoning is D. I hope it is clear. Number 6, please. Number 6 is a paradox question. All right, let's try to understand. He says, owing to a near perfect monsoon, farmers across the country have a bumper harvest of potatoes. खूब potatoes हुआ है, उम्मीद से ज़्यादा potatoes हुआ है farmers को. However, we have seen a sharp rise in the number of potato farmers committing suicide this year. बम्पर हार्वेस्ट तो हुआ है, उम्मीद से ज्यादा पोटैटोज हुआ है, बट फार्मर्स ने सुसाइड भी इस साल बहुत करी है. तो बम्पर हार्वेस्ट से या परफेक्ट मॉनसून की वजह से सुसाइड बढ़ गया है इस साल. व्हाट वुड एक्सप्लेन द सुसाइड? व्हाई आर दे कमिटिंग सुसाइड? जब परफेक्ट मॉनसून हुआ तो बम्पर हार्वेस्ट हुआ. जब बम्पर हार्वेस्ट होगा तो क्या होगा? जब बहुत ज्यादा प्रोडक्शन हो जाएगा तो क्या होगा? You know, onions are selling at 15 rupees, 20 rupees a kilo today. और एक टाइम था जब 60 रुपए 80 रुपए तक था. तो क्या फार्मर खुश है अगर उसका अनियन 15-20 रुपए किलो में आ गया है? तो फार्मर खुश नहीं है. ऑलराइट, इसका मतलब ओवर सप्लाई हो गया है. ओवर सप्लाई का मतलब प्राइसेस कम हो जाएंगे. तो यहाँ पर भी परफेक्ट मानसून से ओवर सप्लाई हो गया है तो क्या होगा? प्राइसेस विल स्टार्ट फॉलोइंग. और अगर प्राइसेस उनके कॉस्ट प्राइस से भी नीचे आ जाएंगी तो क्या होगा? सुसाइड करेंगे. एंड देयरफॉर बी इज द राइट आंसर. डी बोलता है लास्ट ईयर द मानसून वाज बैड एंड पोटैटो फार्मर्स स्टिल कमिटेड टू सुसाइड. आपका कहने का मतलब ये है कि मानसून अच्छी हो या खराब हो, उनको सुसाइड करने की आदत पड़ी हुई है. इज इट अ वैलिड एक्सप्लेनेशन? All those who mark D as the answer. D is wrong. आप ये बोल रहे हो कि उनको तो आदत पड़ गई है, अच्छा मानसून अच्छा हो या नहीं हो तो भी वो सुसाइड करते ही हैं. It doesn't make sense. Number 7, last question, please. All right, let's see this. There seems to be a confusion between C and D. Prakash says this country is going to the dogs. Going to the dogs का मतलब है ये country का बहुत बुरा हाल चल रहा है, बहुत खराब condition में है. This is the meaning of going to the dogs. And I blame it on the immigrants. जो लोग बाहर से इंडिया में आए हैं, उनकी वजह से ये सब problems आ रही हैं. Violence, unemployment, loss of values are all due to the policy of letting in all sorts of people. ये जो policy है government की कि कोई भी आ जाए, इसकी वजह से ये सब प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही हैं. इंडिया शुड बी फॉर इंडियंस. इंडिया जो है सिर्फ इंडियंस के लिए होनी चाहिए. By that reasoning, we should all be considered immigrants, and India should be left to the Dravidians, who are the original inhabitants of the nation. So विनोद कहता है अगर इंडिया शुड बी फॉर इंडियंस, तो फिर तो हमें जो ओरिजिनल सेटलर्स हैं इंडिया के, जो ड्राविडियंस है, वो रहने चाहिए, बाकी सबको निकाल देना चाहिए. So what is he doing? If Prakash is saying India should be for Indians, तो वो कहीं ना कहीं रीजनिंग जो दे रहा है कि सारे इमिग्रेंट्स की गलतियां हैं, तो इसका मतलब सारे इमिग्रेंट्स को निकालोगे तो फिर तो सिर्फ ड्राविडियंस को छोड़ के सभी को निकालना पड़ेगा. हमें हिस्ट्री मालूम है कि आर्यंस की जो ट्राइब है वो बाहर से आई थी, इमिग्रेट करी थी इंडिया में. ओरिजिनल ट्राइब यहाँ पर ड्राविडियंस की है. तो इसका मतलब जितना नॉर्थ इंडिया है वो सब को बाहर निकालो, बिकॉज वो लोग तो सब बाहर से आए हुए, उनके पूर्वज तो सब बाहर से आए. So what is he doing? Is he generalizing a specific problem, or is he showing a flaw in Prakash's reasoning? The answer is D. He's not generalizing a specific problem. He's giving, he's pointing out at a mistake that Prakash is making. I hope this is clear. I hope the concepts of CR are also very clear. We'll continue with another class next time. So today we come to the end of today's class.
हेलो
All right. Yes. बोलो
सर,
शशि.
आपका नाम क्या हुआ इंट्रोडक्शन में?
नहीं, मैं तो नहीं बताऊंगा, ये तो आपको पहले ही पता लग जाना चाहिए था. तो it is there. और कोई आपको क्वेश्चन पूछना है?
जी नहीं.
राइट. मेरा नाम जैसे आप लोगों का नाम लिखा हुआ है वैसे मेरा नाम भी लिखा हुआ है, तो उसको आप ढूंढ लेते और पता कर लेते. ऑल राइट, थैंक यू वेरी मच. विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट.